I'm gonna be real. I totally forgot that we were fucking here. I don't know where my mind just went, but I looked up. I was just like, "Am I on a Zoom call? Right? The
fuck?" That's too funny.
You went on WoW?
No, I put us in the starting soon screen because who knows when he's going to show up. Oh. Oh. Did I? Seriously? Oh, I gotta find out now.
Are you gonna show it to class?
Oh, I'm thinking of how much I should say while live.
Say it all. Say everything. Say everything.
Well, let's just say Nerdy Nerdum is probably dead now.
Never mind. I want you to save it for after. Unless you actually want to say it. Say it on stream. You already know how I feel. You know how I feel.
Yeah. A subgroup was started and we're posting there now.
A subgroup?
Or a new group.
Oh, like an inner circle?
Like a group that no longer has a certain particular member.
You mean like the owner doesn't have a certain ownership?
Yeah.
Well, kind of how it is when you run a dictatorship, I guess you would say. Right. For a fan page or a group page.
I'm not saying much more.
Well.
All right. That's up and running. All right. I am ready. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, anytime.
But Sobs, I can't see your face.
Yeah, my camera's not working for some reason. And my microphone is not working correctly either. I'm just using the microphone on my headphones, so it probably sounds a little off.
Huh.
And the camera that is on my laptop, honestly, is so shitty, I don't even want to use it. So, I mean...
You got what you got. I feel you, bud.
Yeah. I'll have to be faceless today.
Yeah.
I might just need to reset the computer, but, I mean, I'll just do that later.
Well, in the meantime, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Griffcast, episode 135, the Mature Nerdy Podcast for Immature People, the show where we talk about any and all things nerd, video games, comic books, movies, computer technology, and or science. I am your host, Griff Moore. Welcome to the show. Oh, we got a couple of spicy things going on tonight. Oh.
Like a scale of spicy. I mean, you're talking about like habanero spicy? You're talking about like I wanted Indian hot spicy? Or are you talking about like, I better not shit for a couple of days because I might not survive spicy?
More like white people spicy.
Oh, so just a little bit of pepper on that bitch and we're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. All right, so don't know where Wild is. We're just gonna carry on. Solves is having technical issues, so we're just gonna run with what we got for the moment.
I'm just gonna be faceless today.
And I'm now involved with another group, so maybe we can possibly get some more people in here, get some more opinions on matters. Maybe. Uh-oh, I'm receiving text messages. Is this Wild?
Text message. That was me, my bad. That was me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's in reference to Wild.
Yeah, that's...
Let's see what Wrath is doing. Tell him to get his ass in here, too.
Yeah, I thought Wrath was, is he not in the rotation?
He's supposed to be.
Oh.
Anyway. So one thing we're going to hop into is that the Series S is going to be the downfall of Xbox.
Oh, yeah?
There are a lot of companies and games that will not touch an Xbox release because of the Series S. Not the Series X. Now, it is rather well known now that the Series X itself is about 15% more powerful than the PS5 base.
You know what? I probably would argue that. I felt like they were... I thought they were pretty on par when it came to performance.
When it comes to hardware, yes, but the PS5 interface is more invasive than the Xbox interface.
I'll allow it, but I felt like the Xbox Series X, it had a slightly better processor and a slightly better graphics card. Now, and you're just talking about like nano, I mean, just like, I think it's like the difference between like 2.5 and like 2.3 gigahertz. It's like for both products, depending on it. But like remember the I/O throughput on the PS5 was fucking dumb fast though.
Yeah, it's not substantially better. It's just better.
If you would have said 5%, I would have not brought anything up.
Yeah,
but 15, I feel like 15 is a little bit more significant. If you would have stuck at said 8 or 9%, I would have walked that number. I would have let that go too.
Well, we don't have the actual metrics in front of us, so.
As soon as you get to 10%, I was like, hold the fuck up. My inner Sony fanboy is going to come out too much for that shit.
No, I'll allow that the Pro is probably 20% better than the Series X in terms of performance.
22 at least. I'm sorry.
But the Series S is significantly holding back anything on the console itself. Like, even you posted that article. Let's see where.
I feel like I posted a couple kind of like in reference to the X and the S. But yeah, one was definitely referring to Wukong.
Yeah.
Working with Wukong. And there have been other games that have done the same thing. That the Series S was a good idea on paper, providing a budget system to allow people to play next generation console games for not next generation console prices.
I think they need to redo their contracts and make the S an optional.
But then, I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Because I think that's hurting their top line and bottom line more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the sales figures, like PS5 has sold twice as many consoles as almost 3 times as many consoles as the Xbox has this generation.
Combined.
And it is sad in the aspect that the Xbox is a massively better value.
I think there's
Okay.
there's a little bit of give and take. It depends on what your pros and cons are.
Right. If you are looking specifically at exclusives, PlayStation has it.
Correct.
Like there's no argument.
But if you're talking about like you're talking about like library, I guess I was about to say functionality, but I'm talking about like library, mostly like library, and ease of access to the library. Yeah, Xbox for sure, especially when you're looking at Game Pass and other services, and they might even offer. But then again, like you get that same thing on PC, and that's why like most gamers are just like, if I have a PC and a PS5, I'm set.
Yeah, that is true because 99% of everything they release on Xbox is also parallelly released on PC.
And I feel like they're bringing a lot of their first party games and they're having them day one on Game Pass, which is it's good. I mean, it's good. It's a good way to increase Game Pass sales, but then like you're also releasing it on PC at the same time, so people are probably like, I can build a PC, I can buy a pre-built PC, get better performance, better quality, and more versatility out of that system than I can from just buying a console, even if it is just the Series S at $300. I could spend $300 and cool, I have a Netflix machine, I got something, but like. Sorry, I'm also watching the football game right now too. I gotta multitask. Dude, that was a big brain move right there. You should have seen it. Saquon Barkley. That was big. That was a big brain move right there, man. That was a big brain move. Dude, he had it. Dude, you should see this fuck. You should have seen that shit. Yeah, I'm so nerded now. I'm just nerded now about something different. Dude, he had a clear touchdown. That dude had a clear fucking touchdown. He was gone. He was fucking gone. He said, "Nope, team." He said, "Nope, team." Oh my god, that was big brain move right there. God damn him. Anyway, sorry. Series S?
Yeah, no, it's been bad for the Xbox ecosystem more than anything else.
Yeah, and I really don't even understand. I'm almost kind of siding with the Xbox team on this point. What's the difference between building a game that's, designed to run on PC and then, building a game that's designed to run on Xbox? So, because
I think the barrier between them is becoming narrower and narrower as time goes on.
I guess you're talking about like for PC and Xbox?
Yeah.
So my thought process here is people are not liking to develop games for Xbox because they have to develop games to run on the Xbox Series X, which has a lot more horsepower than the Series S. So at some point they have to be able to run it, they have to be able to optimize it so that it can run efficiently on a game with not as much horsepower and firepower,
right,
behind it, right? And they pretty much have to do the same thing for PC as is. And we've seen very recently, as they come out with PC games, that they're getting very lazy with their optimization. They're trusting more on artificial intelligence upscaling to do the work for them. And we're seeing games being very poorly optimized. But even so, at some point, they're still optimizing it to a point, so that it's able to run on several different processors that are running on several different motherboards that are running on several different running with several different GPUs and different RAM modules. They have to at least calculate that a little bit, compensate for that, and factor that in and build that into their optimization.
Yeah.
Right. So what is the difference if you're building a game for this one platform and then this slightly less performance platform, and then also developing this game so they can run on a huge array of different combinations of figures.
See, that I think that ends up being the problem is if you design a game to be ran at, say, 4K 60 FPS, forcing it into a system that can run 1080 30 is not going to be an enjoyable experience for the user. It's not saying that they can't do it with just sliders. I'm just saying that it doesn't make it an enjoyable experience for the users. You buy a $300 console, you're going to get a $300 performance.
Well, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah. Which is why when you build a $2,500 PC, you get a $2,500 performance over a $500 console.
It is so true. You get what you pay for.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to the gaming market. Now, that being said, I feel like Sony is starting to turn into the Apple of gaming.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Where
Hurts.
it's you must use our products and our services or it will not work. Or you can give us your money, but we're not going to give it back.
Yeah, and that sucks, and we're seeing that again, especially as The Last of Us 2 Remastered comes to PC.
Yeah.
Like, it's a standalone game. They didn't, they ditched the online play for it.
This is a better situation than it was with
Helldivers or Tsushima.
Yeah, because they're like, hey, just so you know, this needs to happen prior to you buying the game. It's not, we're doing this 2 weeks after you bought it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Helldivers should have made that clear. They ditched that effort in the beginning because they were having troubles with the interface. I mean, not like not like the visual interface, but like the interfacing of the systems and so on and so forth. They weren't able to get the back end interface up and operational in time. So that's why they neglected that effort for a little bit. And they brought it back forward when they finally got it operational again. So, these. Saying up front, I feel like they're just shooting themselves in the foot just a tiny bit. I mean, all the countries that it is available in is still like 90% of their market anyway, right?
Right.
It's like 70 countries or so, but like these are terrible. It sounds, the most high-profile first-world countries where getting that type of entertainment system is not a problem for people, right? But I think you still limit yourself. Still limit yourself because PCs are all over the world. PCs are in places that I guess you probably wouldn't even expect PCs. People find a way, right?
Right.
And not allowing them to purchase a game just because of the region of where they are, and then also restricting them, if they were able to create a VPN or have a service to spoof their location, or not even spoof their location, but try to use resources in a certain location and like, hey, you're not in this region, so we're gonna cut your shit off. So I think it's just dumb. It's racist. It's nationalist.
It's something.
It's prejudice to a point, right? Just like, you don't have our services because we have brought the services to your country or to your region, so you're not allowed to play our games. It kind of sounds like Sony's like, we're too lazy to bring our stuff to you, so you gotta fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you don't. When it comes to the topic of economics and business, you don't push towards 1% of the market, you push towards 80% of it. Which is understandable, but at the same time doesn't make it a good move. So honestly, it feels more like they're just trying to prevent people from modding than anything. Because if you're forced to log into a secondary account it can have implications to your primary account.
Yeah. And now you're just talking about something else in the digital world. And now, we used to own games, first we getting physical games. We used to be able to own games and had the rights to it. And now we're just pretty much paying full price to rent games. And, we're able to play those games as long as the services that we buy the games on continue to provide those services to us,
Yeah.
They decide to cut those servers off, decide to cut off the library or reduce the library, that we lose access to those games. We're pretty much paying full price to rent the license. And then, like you said, if you mod or you take a misstep, they could ban your account. And now however much money you've spent on your library of games is now just gone and lost in the wind.
Yeah.
That's that bullshit.
And I don't know, I grew up a Sony fanboy, and I wish they were a better, not better performing, but a better publicly available company than they are. I think it's the wrong terminology. Consumer friendly.
Yes. Yeah, there you
go. But it's not, and it's only going to get worse from here. And then we're going to end up with people, because PlayStation is turning into, like, what I meant by PlayStation or Sony is turning into the Apple of the gaming world is, oh, you're not playing on a PlayStation, so why would I play with you? Or why would you buy an Xbox? PlayStation is so much better. It's like, no, it's not. Like, if you break down the statistics of an Apple phone versus an Android phone, or the, not statistics, but the performance for per dollar value.
Yeah. You're talking about like performance specs and hardware specs.
Yeah.
Compared to cash value.
Yeah. And I mean, people buy the new iPhone because it says Apple on it.
Yeah, you're buying a name, you're buying the hierarchy. I mean, it's the same thing, especially if you look at some, like car manufacturers and engineering.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to game consoles, though, when we're talking about PlayStation and Xbox, I mean, there are a lot of people that are just, loyal to a franchise or a certain company. But at the same time, when we're talking about games, I really do feel like more people are swayed by the games, possibly more so than the actual console itself. Because, I mean, I used to be diehard 360 guy until, until like the PS4. And before that, I was a PlayStation guy. But, let's during the PS3 era, I really allowed myself to say, you know what, Sony just wasn't doing it for me that time.
Well, that's usually, I mean, that generation, like, it was hard not to be a 360 guy.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point that I'm making. Like, I feel like because 360 at that time, I mean, that's where all the games were, as far as, like, the best exclusives. I mean, that's not to say that Sony didn't have its exclusives, too, but compared to what Xbox was doing at the time, I mean, they just couldn't really, they couldn't really touch it at the time.
So that's one of those generations that it turned out very clear, like, what you have to do when releasing your console.
Oh, yeah.
The 360 came out a full year before the PS3.
It did.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, like most console generations, I feel like the consoles are mostly on par with each other. One might be slightly better than another, and like we were talking about earlier, like you're talking about like 5%, 10%. Nothing dramatic. I feel like they're very much on par with each other. And then it comes down to the exclusives, but that 1 year, everyone was like, a year's a long fucking time. It's not a long time, but it's also a long fucking time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a long fucking time. So you're like, oh, I can have a year dealing with the 360, and switching over to Xbox, or I can just sit here and be a little bitch and continue playing my PS2 while people are playing this already next gen quality games. I'm going to get to 360. I mean, I touched it out. I was like, got that PS3, and I was happy when I had the PS3. But like, a lot of the game developers, they were already pushing 360. They had already had more time with the dev kits, to produce on 360. The majority of the market was already sold on 360. You're talking about like, however many millions of units each company pushes in that first year alone. But now 360 had a year of pushing not just their units, but everybody that was also switching over. Like, I'm sure they were fucking just rolling. I mean, PS3 definitely caught up towards the end of that generation. They had releasing crazy titles, and people started realizing the quality of the system and the exclusive that was over there. Mm-hmm. So back, but I mean, yeah, 360 had a fucking run for an entire year. It was just pushing.
Speaking of that run that the 360 had, I'm actually really surprised that the Xbox or just Microsoft as a company has not tried to do that again. Like, I know they had all sorts of exclusives that they had lined up at one point in time, and for whatever reason, a lot of them just fell through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So when you say do that again, are you talking about like trying to push the mini exclusives again, or are you talking about like pushing that time frame and having that year split? Because not companies. Okay, yeah, they don't have.
Because I feel like exclusives is why nobody cares about getting an Xbox, because you can play a lot of the same games on the PlayStation if that's what you already have.
So I would try to defend that, but let's be honest, the PlayStation exclusives the last few years have been utter trash.
Well, I mean, last few years, I mean, I guess it just kind of depends. Actually, truth be told, I don't really think there has been an exclusive on either side that's actually been all that great. It's kind of just been Universal games here recently.
I mean, for me, the God of Wars were kind of amazing, but outside of that...
Yeah.
So my argument here is, the 360, or not just the Xbox itself, they have their exclusives. They do have their exclusives, and some of them are high in quality. Mm-hmm. They just don't put out quite as many. They're just few and far between. And you're just talking about high quality. Xbox still puts out a ton of exclusives. They still have a ton of exclusives, first-party games.
Yeah.
That are made by their first-party studios. They're just not as high in caliber and quality as Sony.
I guess Sony, they're just not advertised as much either. I don't feel like I see any of these games very often.
It's not just that; it's also that Microsoft itself has been trying to be more consumer friendly and releasing their games everywhere.
Well, that's true. So that's what happened. That's what happened was in like the last couple of years. They're still putting out exclusives, and they're putting out high quality exclusives. They're just available everywhere, so they're not quite exclusives anymore.
Yeah.
I think during the 360 era, they were putting out, a large number of exclusives. The same as Sony. Like a 1-to-1 ratio. These are not exact numbers; these are my guesstimates. But like a 1-to-1 ratio. And then during the PS4, Xbox One era, it was like, I'm sorry, 1-to-1. Yeah, is that what I said? Yeah, like a 1-to-1 ratio during the 360 PS3 era, and then during the Xbox One PS4 era, it was like 1-to-4. Sony was putting out 4 high quality exclusives. Xbox is only putting out 1, right? High caliber exclusives, and so that's kind of like where everything's going over, back to the PlayStation platform. They're having more exclusives, and they're having more high quality exclusives. Xbox is still putting out a bunch of exclusives. They're just not quite as high in quality. And just fewer and far between when you're talking about playability, performance, and just awe-inspiring capturing people. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I mean, it's
notoriety.
A little bit of column A, column B. I mean, of the last few years, which in game terms is a very long time, the best games have been put out by smaller companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Baldur's Gate, Elden Ring, Path of Exile. Like, these companies are not massive AAA companies.
No, they're not.
Wukong.
It's the larger studios are getting bought up by. It's the same thing like we're dealing with movie stuff.
Yeah.
Like with movies, they're taking existing IPs and they're just trying to fluff them up. They're trying to fluff them up. They're like, oh, this worked in the past. Let's just fluff it up. Let's make it as huge as possible. People are trying to look at scale. They want to look at scale. They want to look at how much they can do in the game. They want to look at cinematic pieces, whatever. And back when these games were writing really great stories, and having like a really good image, good plot, great story to tell. People are like, oh, now they're going to buy the name and we're just going to buy it for the scale. And so now these smaller studios, they're able to spend more time. They're putting together like these really good stories. These good stories, these good quality, and not trying to like, make the games over in depth and over intense. That makes sense? Yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but you can't really agree on the depth perspective of it, because the games that have been successful have been extremely in depth.
So like when I mean in depth, I mean like it's a very deep game when it comes to like, I guess like, what am I trying to say? Maybe just scale. Like in scale. In depth and scale. Okay, maybe in depth was not the right word I wanted. Just large. Large in scale, large in like the amount of features that it has, large in the amount of controls that you can do. Not having basic controls, but like
I feel like that's getting smaller on the AAA side of things.
You think it's getting smaller on the AAA?
Yeah. I feel like that pool is getting shallower and shallower.
With how many features they have available,
yeah.
I feel like they just been stuffing their games with like how much you can try to do and how much things you can try to do, and trying to like overpack it with side missions, overpack it with content, and just kind of, I guess, overstimulating you because they feel that will make it a better game. Make it a larger map, put more points of interest, put more things here and there, try to give them more things to do.
Design.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking about Ubisoft, because I mean I'm kind of relating a lot of my speak to the Assassin's Creed. So that's kind of like what I think I remember.
Yeah, I think you need to play Baldur's Gate 3 and then come back with that argument.
It's fair. I am thinking mostly about the Assassin's Creed games, because as I played the Assassin's Creed games, like they had scale to them. I remember playing like one of the first Assassin's Creed games, like you bring it at like the top, and like they're like, everything that you can see right now, at some point you can go and touch it. If you're able to see it, you will be able to go and get to it. And I'm like, wow, this map is fucking huge, and it's really cool. And then they just started scaling on that, and like the map's just getting larger and larger and larger, and there's just so much content in it. And like just to play one of those games, like it would take you hundreds of hours to even just like to get to all the stuff. If you're not just focusing on the story, like the completion hours are just like 500 hours for like a completionist.
Those are basically checklist games.
Yeah. And then I think about other games where they just, try to stuff it with, just too much content. They try to oversaturate the story. Try to outsmart themselves, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a professional.
I don't know. There's a lot of things to that, but we're gonna move on a little bit here. We're gonna start talking about technology that has been announced. Actually, first I'm gonna do a quick rapid news, because there's a lot of little things here that we aren't gonna cover, but let's see. Sony unveiled a new AI. EA rejected the Dead Space 4 pitch. That was pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the HDMI 2.2. I think we're still kind of in a situation where hardware is outpacing software.
Yeah. And then also, it has also other hardware, because I feel like the new AMD graphic cards and the new NVIDIA graphics cards, they're not going to have 2.2 HDMI slots.
No.
I feel like.
I mean, we'll be lucky if they have 2.0.
They have 2.1.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant, 2.1.
The 40 series has 2.1. And most monitors have 2.1. So I mean, I guess they developed the 2.2, but I don't feel like it's, this new iteration of graphics cards is not going to have it. So it's probably going to be like another 2 years before another iteration of graphics cards comes out that will have 2.2. You'll probably see the monitors here like the next year or so. having 2.2. I mean, it's good to know that, HDMI 2.2 exists, but it's probably not going to be around,
Yeah. We might get another iteration of the same cards that they just announced in a year that have access to it, but it's also going to be what monitors are available.
Yeah. I imagine the monitors will have it before the graphics cards have it. If they release an iteration of new graphics cards, like, you're talking about like the 58 or the 5000 series TIs will have 2.2. That'd be a slap in the dick for fucking everybody, especially if you buy a 5090 at fucking $2,000 a pop.
Yeah.
And then a year, 6 months from now, they're like, oh, get the 5090 Ti that has 2.2 for $2,500.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a minute. So let's see. We have a Helldivers 2 film in production. We have a Ghost of Tsushima anime coming, which...
That's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope. Can you imagine a Ghost of Tsushima anime? Oh, it's gonna be fucking...
I'm hoping for the best, but I need to see stuff about it before we dive into that.
How closely do you want it to follow the storyline of the actual game? You want it to be like shot for shot?
Yeah.
I feel like that could be pretty good if they do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be one of those, 12-episode series, too.
Yeah.
The NVIDIA announced Project Digits, which is a $3,000 desktop supercomputer, which is a nano computer. Find out. Facebook is going to be pulling back on its censorship issues, which good for consumers. Assassin's Creed Shadow delayed again.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard about that one.
Yeah, it puts it back to March, another month. I don't know, another month to it.
Man.
Sony has started a new studio. So they've closed 3 studios and started a new one, so good on you.
Are they hiring everyone that got laid off?
So I did pop into that article, and apparently a lot of the main managerial folk are the guys that got laid off from Bungie. So who knows? And then, all right, we'll jump into the technology stuff here real quick. We're going to talk a lot of numbers and boring stuff for a lot of people. Well, first off, the AMD Ryzen 9 9950X3D was announced. I need a new motherboard.
Do you want it? Do you want it?
Well, let's see here. It's a pretty beastly card.
What, card or chip?
Chip, sorry.
It's okay. I love you still.
I know. Oh, is it out?
Dude.
Is it out? Can you buy it right now? No, you can't.
The 9980 or 99?
You can buy the 9900, not the 9950.
Dude, how now it's a 9950 3XD. I think it's gonna be fucking expensive, man. You might as well buy a fucking what was it? The Threadripper. You might as well buy a fucking Threadripper, man.
Yeah, but the Threadripper's not good for gaming.
I know, but shit, it might be the same fucking price.
Maybe not. I mean, let's be honest. It's going to be cheaper than whatever Intel drops next.
I guess that's fair.
It doesn't say what slot it has. It doesn't say if it's an AM5 or if it's going to be a new AM6.
No, it's going to be an AM5. It's going to be AM5. Yeah. Because I mean the 9800 3XD is AM5. They're all AM5. Yeah, the 9000 series, I believe, is AM5. And because they just came out with a new motherboard too, the X870s, and those are AM5 platform. So if you do want a motherboard, you can get the X, the X870, or you can get the X670. The only difference between those two motherboards is that the 870s have access to USB 4.0. So USB 4.0, is it 4.0? Hold on. I might be confused. I don't know what number it is, but the X870s have a new USB technology, or the newest USB technology. Yeah, they have USB 4.0. USB 4. And it's fucking just stupid. It's just stupid fucking fast. Yeah, that's right, because USB 2.0 had come out, and then 2.1, and then there was 3, and now it's on 4. And 4 is just dumb fucking fast. It's like 50 gigs. Like 50 gigs per second transfer speeds. It's fucking stupid. It's just nuts. I doubt there's any other hardware that can utilize that USB port now, or yet. But it's just dumb fucking fast. Are you muted? Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah. So yeah, Intel has released NVIDIA has released the Intel on their 5000 series Blackwell cards. Holy crap. The 5090 is almost twice the card as the 4090.
It's dumb. Dude, you're talking about dude, like if you they had I saw a chart that was like a side-by-side comparison.
That's what I'm looking at.
The 5070 they claim it has 4090 power, but like if you look at it like on paper, it's only like a slight upgrade from the 4070. The same with the 5080 from the 4080. And then but you look at the 4090 compared to the 5090, it's like twice the fucking card when it comes to like how many cores and sensor cores and shit.
I'm
like
honestly surprised that it's only $2,000. At the same time, like, why are we looking at spending $2,000 on a graphics card?
I think they said it's a 4-slot card. 4-slot card.
Good lord.
That bitch is going to be fucking massive. It's going to be a literal fucking brick. Some of the, I think Asus announced, they created a new fucking tier. So they had the Rogue Strix, which, the ROG Strix, which was their fucking top tier.
That's the Astral.
The Astral.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, well, calm down. I can only be so hard. They're like, yeah, we're releasing the Strix, and now we have a new tier, the Astro. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, these are 3 and 4 slots. Yeah. Holy crap.
4 slot. That thing's got to be fucking huge.
And we're talking that thick.
Yeah.
Like, if you have airflow problems in your case, you're about to have a lot more.
I can't imagine how big that thing is going to fucking be. You have to have a monstrosity of a case to fucking fit that bitch.
Like, it's going to have, like, I'm looking at this one right now.
I'm looking at my case.
I got room in my case. I just, maybe.
Well, like one of the biggest cases I could find a couple of years back, and I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, like I usually buy my cases on the small side of full size ATX cases, or like the large size of mid tier. And I'm looking at mine going, maybe there's enough room. Because like I'm looking at some of these cards and they come with their own AIO, which is nuts.
Oh yeah, a lot of cards have done that. They've done that for the past. They've done that at least since the 3090s. You know, maybe even like some of the 2000 series had them. But I know the 3000 series, like, it took a long time to like release them. They didn't release them right away. But EVGA back when they were making RTX cards, they had some. Asus had some, but they had some that came with water pumps already built into them. They're just fucking nuts.
Yeah, like. Why does a graphics card need its own water pump? Holy crap.
I mean, these bitches get fucking hot.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers
like,
get
I'm not
fucking
disagreeing.
hot.
I'm just...
Warm. They fucking
holy
put
crap.
out. They fucking put out. Dude, and like the specs on these fucking 5000 series, especially the 5090, dude, that bitch is gonna fucking put it out.
Yeah.
They announced, like, Asus announced that this, the Astro was their first card with 4 fans. It's gonna have 4 fucking fans.
3 on one side, 1 on the other. Yeah.
Nuts.
Here pretty soon we're going to be building 2 PCs. It's going to be one for everything and one just for your graphics card. All right, so let's talk specs real quick, and we're not going to go into the full line. We're just going to talk about the 5090 to the 4090. Holy crap. CUDA cores, 5090, 21760, 4090 has only got 16,384. Wow.
I think that's about normal, though. I mean, I remember the
It's a
3090.
step. Okay. The 5090, it's going to be required to have a 1,000-watt GPU or PCU.
Yeah.
Or PSU. Sorry.
Yeah, it's recommended. I feel like the 4090s were like recommended, like have 1,000-watt or more, depending on like. I feel like it was more back when they were released, man. At least I know I'm good. I mean,
maybe they just made it better. Maybe they just made it better. I haven't bought an NVIDIA card in years. Gen 5 PCI Express.
That makes sense.
792 more gigabytes per second on memory bandwidth. Memory speed, 7 more gigabytes per second. Memory interface, 200 more bits. Memory capacity, 32 gigs to 24 gigs. Like, holy crap.
That's so dumb, dude. Dude, your graphics card alone is going to have, like, if you put a 4090 in your system, like, more than, like, 80%, I would say, like, 80% of PCs don't have 32 gigs of memory right now. I mean, some have, like, 64, and some people are, I don't know, are fucking dumb and have, like, 128. But, like, I would say your run-of-the-mill PC, you got, like, 16 gigs of memory. You got, like, 16 gigs of memory.
Nuts. It's nuts all around.
You're talking about 32? That's fucking stupid.
It's already on DDR7 memory? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. It's fucking dumb. This card is fucking stupid. Dude, if I get a game and I'm playing it and that game crashes, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
It won't be your card that does it.
Like, there's no way that my GPU cannot handle this or something. Shit. No.
I mean, we're talking like game that hasn't come out yet playing at 120 frames at 4K.
I mean, there are some games that do that now with the 4090. I mean, with AI upscaling. Yeah, sure. But yeah,
We're talking about native.
yeah, this card, like, native should just be fucking just...
Yeah. Like, its boost clock is lower than the 4090, but it doesn't need to be higher.
Yeah.
Its baseline is higher than overclocking a 4090.
Clock speed isn't everything.
No.
You know? Flex speed and everything.
I don't think I've ever overclocked a graphics card. I've never needed to.
I have. Yeah. Overclocked on my graphics card. I mean,
like I'm currently playing.
I buy the graphics cards that are meant to be overclocked. I don't know if I like. I usually just take like the default overclock too. Like when you switch into overclock mode, I just run with that. Like I don't need to. You don't need to put in your own overclock settings or change anything or tweak it in a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll be just fine. These things are fucking monsters now.
I need to see the Team Red cards though. I'm an AMD fanboy, so I need to see the Team Red cards.
I think they're on the 9000 series as well for their cards.
Are they?
Yeah. So yeah, they're releasing processors there in the 9000 series, and I think they're.
But the 9000 series came out like a year and a half ago for AMD.
For the CPUs?
No, for their GPUs.
No, I think the 7000 series was their last iteration. I think they're on the 9000 series right now.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, because the 9950 XTX is coming with FSR 4. It's RDNA 4. Yeah, I think the RDNA 4 is the 99. Is their 9000 series right now?
Yeah, I think we need to go back and stop relying on AI upscaling so much because it's crashing games so hard. I mean, developers are just getting dependent on that. Like we were talking about, like they're not really trying to go through with optimization too much anymore. Relying on upscaling. God, as technology gets more advanced, productivity gets lazy. Yeah,
I mean, we do
need to hit a point at some, and AI might help us get there.
Sorry, my bad.
We are hitting a point, and AI could help us get there, where games need to be manufactured faster.
No, I feel like games are already coming out too fast. Like, I mean, like, we're talking about, Call of Duty are coming out. They still do a year every 1 year.
Well, if you think about it, back at like, let's go back to like the 360 era. If you could go back to the 360 era, we're talking 200 games a year. The 360 has one of the largest libraries of any console in history, outside of like the Super. Let's look this up.
So I'm not really sure about that myself.
I feel like a lot of games are coming out. You're talking about you're talking about like games in general, or you're talking about like first party high quality games?
Both.
I'm talking about games in general. All games in general. I mean, PS4 probably has a fucking massive library. So you're talking about these quick games are like like $5 a pop. You just play it for like a little bit. Like an hour of gameplay or something. Those little quick one off. Probably built for kids or something. I'm sure PlayStation has a fucking PC be dumb, dude. God, PC's Steam's library is fucking. You're trying to talk about like how many games are on PC on Steam right now? How many games are on Steam? I'm sure that library is fucking disturbingly large. There's like 10 or 5, not 10 or 5, that makes no sense. 10 or 15 game releases like a week on Steam. You're just like games with like all different types of quality and stuff. And adult rating, if you know what I mean.
I mean, my Steam's not set to private. What?
I wonder what those games are fucking like. Can you imagine like being like the person that has to like develop that game? I'm sure like if you're the person that develops that type of game, you want to develop that type of game. But still, like it's just like.
Okay, so I am incorrect in my statements.
I think about the voice actors a lot. Especially like in anime adult things. Like, you're gonna be the voice actor for this. Like, you're not even going through it. Like, because like you understand, like the live action stuff. Those people are going through it. So it's kind of like it's kind of easy to voice act. You're talking about the people that are just like watching this animation on screen.
Well, I mean, you could do two birds with one stone and like
And then they got
live film one while recording for the other.
No, because during the anime stuff, I think it starts with the H. I don't know what it's called because I've never experienced that type of stuff. They say some weird stuff they say some weird shit during that kind of stuff. I don't know why. That's what. Yeah, my dog just told me that's what he's experienced. I've never experienced this myself, so I don't know what they say. But it's like, yeah, he said they say some weird shit. They say some weird ass shit. Why do you know that? It doesn't matter. I don't care.
All right.
He can do it. He's grown. He's older than me.
All right, let me correct a previous statement. The 360 is one of the larger libraries, but it is not the largest. The largest belongs to the PlayStation 2.
That makes sense.
Oh,
Let's see. PlayStation's 5. Okay. Wow. Holy crap. Let me bring this up.
PlayStation 5 library is fucking doggy doo-doo.
423 titles total.
On the PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Dreamcast, 624. GameCube, 653. The Wii, 1,596.
Yeah, that sounds right.
360, 2,154. PS2, 4,379.
God damn, I'm never gonna top that. Jeez.
Yo, imagine if they had trophies back then and people were fucking trophy hunters. That'd be fucking nuts.
So,
Right?
Oh, dude, yeah, you're right. Oh, because there's that one guy, like, he only had like 1,000, he only had like 1,200 trophies, and he had platinumed all those, he had 12,000, 1,200 platinum trophies. And he was like just platinum games on PS4. That's all he did with his life. I don't know. He's probably came from like, dumb oil money or something.
but
Damn.
yeah. So, are we releasing games at the same pace we were? No.
Fuck no. God.
Absolutely not.
God. What's the Steam? What's the Steam library at? Total number of Steam.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
I think another reason that number is smaller now than it was back then, a lot of companies are not taking risks on games either. There was a lot of risk taking back in the PS2 era.
That is true. I'll give you that.
Dude, it was easy. Yeah. Dude, they also weren't printing quite as much into these productions, I don't think.
They didn't
A
need
lot
to.
of them were smaller. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
They
didn't
didn't
need
need
to.
to. They weren't spending $100 million on the game.
No, they were spending $10,000, $20,000. But look at the quality of the games back then versus now too. And I'm not talking about graphical quality.
Stand up today. Yeah.
I'm not talking about graphical quality because obviously that's going to increase.
Yeah.
Gameplay.
But when it comes to just gameplay, mechanics, all of that stuff was so much higher back then.
And I think there's a small understanding that as technology advances, you need to become more in depth with the technology, so it takes longer to,
Which is why I think software
to
is
do that kind of
extremely
stuff.
dragging behind hardware right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I am finding myself buying less and less games because I have no interest in what's coming out.
Yeah.
Versus like the PS2 360 era, it's like I got paid and it's time to go get a new game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that, wasn't it?
Yep. I'm just showing my age saying that I was getting paychecks in those eras. But Oh, all right. Let's go into this last topic here. Just get an idea of where we're going to be standing this year. Things we want to see this year when it comes to the topics that we cover on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I'll give a general idea. Like for me, I'm just looking forward to what's coming next for Path of Exile. Like I am enjoying that game so much that I might not go back to Diablo. And I'm saying that as a 30-year Diablo fan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe for me personally, I'm pretty interested to see how that Elden Ring spin-off Night Rain is going to be.
There's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of looking forward to this year. I'm talking about, like, there's a lot of stuff in like the movie category. There's a lot of good movies that like kind of like on the horizon could possibly be coming out. A lot of good games coming out. I also can't think about them. I know, like I just looked at a list of the two that are like, you know, at least scheduled to come out in 2025.
I have a generic answer that I think covers a lot. I want to see new ideas.
New ideas would be good.
New ideas, new IPs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's got to be more to storytelling than recycling old stories.
I don't know, man. Let me see if I can find the list of this fucking shit.
Like
Demon Slayer. Oh, dude, that's all thing for like animes that are coming out. They're gonna be dope. Fucking Demon Slayer. Fucking Chainsaw Man. Oh, that's right. Chainsaw Man's coming back. Oh, dude, there's a lot of animes coming out.
Chainsaw Man, I can give or take. Like it was enjoyable, but it's not my go-to. But at the same time, like it's better than 90% of everything coming on live TV. So,
Yeah.
was it next? It's either February or March. We're getting season 3 of Reacher.
Yeah, dude. February we're getting fucking Invincible season 3 and Reacher season 3.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
fucking
definitely
dope.
can't wait to see Invincible.
Invincible, right, dude? Dude, I didn't even really think anything like about it. Like they just kind of like shadow dropped it. I feel like they announced both at CS.
It feels like they came out with this season a lot faster than the previous season, but I know that was also because of like writer strikes and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the time between season 1 and season 2 is a lot shorter or a lot longer than it is from 2 to 3. I hope they release all of them in like at least one go. They don't have a mid-season break.
Right.
That's some bullshit. I hate that shit. Reacher gonna be dope.
Yeah. I'm just hoping they stay within the books.
I feel like they've been pretty. I don't know anything about the books. I'm not gonna answer that. Other people that I've talked to have said they have been pretty close. So.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons were pretty close.
Yeah, man, they got the new Captain America movie that's gonna be probably pretty fucking dope. You know, I am excited to see Anthony Mackie in a fucking massive ass role as the fucking lead. You know, I mean, even though he did have, Altered Carbon, but
the problem with his role in Altered Carbon, he was a follow-up.
Yeah.
It's always hard to follow up something that's successful, even though the premise worked.
Yeah, I mean, that was the idea. So, I mean, I don't think they did that because they couldn't get the original actor back. They did it because that was the whole idea of the show. To be able to your mind is on these backup drives or whatever, and you take that and just put it into a new body. So, I mean, that's how the show was written.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing like on the production end or, bring back the actors' money or anything like that. That's just how the show was supposed to be. You know, and he kind of like bumped that. I think he did a good job. That season was still fucking good. I enjoyed that season. It was just, just a tough sell because,
I need a Bright season 2 or a Bright 2.
That's not happening.
I know it's not.
They canceled that. Bright was okay. It kind of did have a cookie cutter script. It was very predictable. Kind of did see it coming.
It was, but I love the premise of it.
Yeah, dude, that was so cool.
The universe was amazing.
I don't know. They might come back to it. And,
it doesn't have to be a Will Smith movie. Like,
true.
Just give us more in that universe.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. It was set to happen. You slapped Chris Rock. The next day, they were like, Bright 2 is canceled. And then that was it. I was like, fuck.
Like, I need more orcs making jokes about Cannibal Corpse making love songs. Like, I need that in my life.
Did you watch the Superman trailer?
I did not. I've seen clips of it and I lost all interest pretty quick.
Damn, really?
I'm becoming a cynic when it comes to movies.
That's fair. I love it. I wouldn't say I wasn't blown away by it. There was one character there that it showed. Such a good boy. And I was excited to see that person.
Yeah, I saw that.
Person? Yeah.
Character.
A character, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is no good. He's never a good boy. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I mean, everything else was kind of just, I'm interested. I want to see it. The actress that they have playing Lois Lane, I do like her. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was a fantastic show. I thought it was so funny. It was so good. It was one of my favorite shows. So I'm excited to see her in other projects. I know she's had other projects. I'm just too busy to go see them.
What about you, Solps? Are you looking forward to anything besides the Elden Ring spinoff? Or is there anything you would like to see this year?
There's probably plenty of movies and stuff that I'd like to see. I mean, aside from like Invincible, that I know of, I'm interested to see the next part of like the Squid Game. Did y'all watch that?
I have not.
So they released the second season of it, but it's to be continued. It's not finished.
I know, man. I was watching the pacing. Like, I'm like, what episode am I on? And I'm looking at the pacing. I'm just like, oh, these motherfuckers are gonna do it, aren't they? They gotta fucking do it. And they did it.
Supposedly the rest of it's gonna come out this year. They didn't say when yet, though. So I mean, I don't know if it'll be later this year or the middle of this year.
You didn't see it?
No, I hadn't seen the date on it.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah. They just said it was 2025. They didn't like say when.
I don't know if they're gonna change it, but like a huge leak came out and gave the exact date. I can tell you. Do you want me to tell you?
All right, yeah, what's the date?
June 27th.
Oh, okay, so middle of the year then.
Yeah. Or at least that was like released. I forgot who released that. Someone like, it might have been, I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to.
Is it going to be like a full third season or is it just going to be like 2 episodes?
No, it's a full third season. So apparently, the screenwriter, the original writer, he did write, he wrote the story that he's telling, the second part, he did write it to be over 2 seasons. So it's not like, I guess Netflix didn't really do it. I think, or he said it was, he wrote it to be such a way that it was going to be too much content for 1 season. Yeah, it's going to be too much content for 1 season, so he had to pretty much like break it up over 2 seasons, even though he like knew that people in there I forgot like when they asked him about it, like he had like a very good reasoning, he had like good justification. He's like, I'm not trying to like play coy with y'all. I didn't want to like do that and like have a cliffhanger season. But, like honestly, that's like kind of like how I did write it. I did write the second Squid Game to take place over this time frame. It was going to be too much to try to squeeze into like a 10 episode season.
Yeah.
So I had to break it up into 2. So
it's good to know that it's not going to be just like 2 episodes, because when I saw that the first season was 9 episodes and then the second season was only 7 episodes, I was like, man, don't you dare tell me that they're holding back just 2 episodes.
No, I think it's a full ass season. It's going to be like 7 or 8 more episodes.
Okay, well that would make more sense. But I know Netflix has done that before. I know that they've, with some, I forget what show it was, but they,
Dude, I
they
remember
did do that with one show.
Was it Stranger Things?
Maybe I can't remember. It was
Right,
a very popular show.
Yeah, they had a show where they released it, and they didn't release like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, so I thought maybe they were doing that again with this.
But I mean, they are releasing the 3rd season like pretty fucking quick, and why we don't have to wait a year for it, which is nice.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely good to know that we'll get to see the conclusion at some point in time this year for sure.
Yeah, and I think it is the final season, so there's not going to be anything after this, which is, I guess, okay.
Well, that's good. I couldn't really imagine it continuing further. It needs to stop while it's good.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, I think that's something I wanted to talk about. Like, people don't realize that less is more. I think a lot of the producers and developers, companies that make movies and shows or whatever, they don't realize that less is more. It's a long topic for another conversation or another day. But yeah, people don't realize that less is more. They feel like, when Squid Games, I mean, they kind of did, in Squid Games, like, have it carry on into a 2nd season and so on and forth. But like, talking things like Joker. Dude, I think I must have jumped universes. I must have jumped universes because I swear to everything that I know. I remember both Joaquin Phoenix and the director being very fucking adamant about like, we're not making our fucking 2nd movie. We're not going to fucking do it, no matter what.
Yes,
it is.
I remember that too.
I think it's the reason that the 2nd movie failed so hard was because nobody cared to make it.
They didn't want to do it. But Warner Brothers like, oh, well, either you guys do it or we're going to fucking do it without you. Just like the fucking 4th Matrix movie.
Yeah, it's all about a cash grab.
Yeah, cash grab. I'm like, we're not going to fucking do it. And they just don't realize that less is fucking more.
Yeah, the Matrix movies in particular, I really feel like that movie kind of ruined the legacy of it.
Matrix 4 was so fucking bad. That movie was so fucking bad. Everybody phoned that shit in. Everybody phoned that shit in. The writers, the fucking Wachowskis, everybody phoned that shit in. Everyone was like, yeah, fuck this shit.
I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Before we get too far down that rabbit hole. Thank you all for coming and watching. We hope you had a good time. We will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.